Alright, today we're going to be installing our part number HN-02, which is an overlay harness for 94 to 97 7.3 Powerstroke trucks with the California emissions. Nobody makes a California emissions harness, so we came up with this to add it onto a brand new harness or your existing harness, but this will get rid of your check engine light for your glow plugs. So we'll go over what you need to get started. Obviously, you need the harness, you need your California glow plug relay. Now you can use the same relay that comes in the new harness. The relay itself is not different. What is different is this shunt piece and the bracket. That's the part you're going to need to keep off your original truck, and if you've lost it, good luck finding another one because they are hard to get. You'll need a good set of crimpers for uninsulated terminals, a pick, some kind of tool like that, wire strippers, a ratchet with a 1/2 inch and a 3/8 socket, some tape or zip ties to attach the harness to the main engine harness, whichever you prefer, small flathead screwdriver, drill with a 9/64 drill bit, small pair of needle nose, and then these are flush cutting pliers for the zip ties so you don't scrape up your hands later on when you're working on them. This is kind of the diagram. I'll include this with all the ones that I ship out, but if you need a copy of it, just email me and I can send you that. Nathan.northup@yahoo.com is my email. I think that's everything. Oh, and then you'll need some kind of a heat gun or a lighter for the heat shrink in this kit. So let's open this up and see what we've got. This is the 2 terminals for the glow plug going to the valve cover harnesses. You'll have to split those up into 2 because on the normal harness they both come together like that. So we'll start with that. You take your ratchet, loosen that up, and we'll just go ahead and set this whole glow plug relay up. If you've got an existing harness on your truck already, I recommend going ahead and just taking the time to remove it and then do it on a workbench because it's going to be so much easier than trying to do this in the truck. Now you're going to want to cut these wires just behind the terminal like that. Try and save as much wire as you can. Separate these out. You just need to strip a little bit off of each one. Like that. Then once you have them stripped, slide your heat shrink over. Slide that on. You want a little bit of wire sticking out of that. Crimp that on nice and tight. Let's strip that one a little bit longer. Both those crimped. Slide your heat shrink back over. I prefer a heat gun, but you can use a lighter or small torch. Just need to make sure you get it all down there and make sure all the glue starts coming out of the heat shrink to really seal it up. we've got those done. I'm going to take this off. I will note on this is a brand new harness. They did have a little bit more of the wire loom coming down here that I cut that off just a little bit shorter right up against there to give you more room to work on this. You're going to want to kind of pay attention to the orientation of this, like that. And so our new one is going to go, so if you were taking this shunt off and putting it on there, it would just be a direct swap onto there. But we're just going to swap this whole relay out. Now if you'll notice, this is now on the wrong side because we need this, our main terminal coming off of our fender well, needs to go on this side, and these two are going to go down here. So we're going to slide this over to this side, rearrange that wire, on there. You don't want to tighten these down too much, you just want them firm, because you can strip those out or break the studs off. Slide that back over. Two control wires. Go back on. So. Same thing with these, just get them firm. You can, with a ratchet like this, you can easily torque them, over torque them and break off the studs, but just get them on there nice and firm. Now we're not going to do that one because we've got to add another wire. So then we're going to take these two, go into our left and right glow plugs, bank I should say. Take these nuts loose. There. It's back down like that. This one you might not be able to get it. You'll just have to see when you get it back on the truck. You may have to angle it over like that instead of it coming straight on. We're just going to leave it like that because we've got other wires that have to hook up to these other studs when we get to that point of the harness. So now, take our overlay harness. It's going to go right on here. We'll start, let's go ahead and take care of the 42 pin. Now this is the little more tedious part. We've got to drill out and put new pins in 40, 41, and 27, which they're already labeled on the end of these wires which spot in the 42 pin they go to. So that keeps it easy. The back of the 42 pin connector is already labeled with the numbers. If yours is using your old one and you can't really read the numbers, starting up here at the top, looking at it like this from the back, it goes from 34 to 42 on this row. And then you go 2, 1, 2, 3 rows down, and 27 is the very outside one on that row. So first thing you're going to do is take a small screwdriver over here on this side. You're going to pry out these red retainers. So we're going to pry out that one, and we also need to get this center one out. You just got to kind of wedge up underneath it and pry it out like that. And that's what actually locks the locking tabs of the pins. So the pins still won't come out, but you could pry the locking tab off with those removed, but we don't need to do that. So now we're going to drill out our holes. You need to be really careful with this part. If you want to, you can slide a metal, you've got a metal tube that just lets a little bit of the drill bit stick out. That'll help you from going too far and messing something up. Otherwise, just be really careful and make sure you get very center to the hole and don't mess up any of the joining wires. And don't drill into your beam too. Okay. Got that. Now, you take your pick, and there'll be a little piece of black plastic back in there that you need to get out of each hole. I'll show you. I've actually got a 42 pin right here that's blank that we can take the back out of, and I'll show you what's going on the back side of that. Basically, you've got this, and then each of the unused holes have that little black plastic piece that goes into the silicone seal that helps seal it all off. So that's after you drill this part out and get it broke loose from this back housing, there's still that black plastic piece in there that you've got to get out in order for the new terminal to slide in there. So that's what you've got going on in there. So we got that one. This one, you just gotta pick it out of there, and then this is where the small needle nose really come in handy for getting that out there. Yep. So now we got all three of those out. So you go in with the new pins, new sockets, I should say. So we're gonna start right here with 27. It's already labeled, color coded, pink and orange. It'll just slide in, see it all the way, and then pull it back a little bit. And then we've got 40 right here, which is orange. It's gonna go right here. Locked in place. 41, which is gray. Okay, so those are all locked in place. So now we can take a red locking tab, put it back in there, and our center one there. So now we're all back in place. We've got our new pins, sockets in there. Now's when you'll want to lay this right next to your existing loom. Now, if you wanted to, you could take this loom all apart and add these wires in. I think that's completely unnecessary. We're just going to zip tie it to the outside. You could, I really like this harness tape. You can take harness tape and just tape it to the side, but for the sake of this video, we're just going to zip tie it. And once you get it in the truck, you can kind of rearrange it how you need it to fit. But you just go along it like this, it'll be just fine. In. I'll take our flush cutting pliers, cut that off. It leaves it nice and smooth. Now, later on when you're working on your truck, you will not slice your hands open on those zip ties. So now we're all done at the 42 pin. We just need to finish up the actual relay itself right here. So now is when we have to refer to our diagram right here. So we've got the gray, which is going to go to this pin right here, which is labeled wire 339. And then we've got wire 589, which is going to go to the side of the shunt with our brown. And then we've got 466, which is our pink and orange, which is going to go to the yellow, which is going to the left bank of glow plugs. Now there might be some, I want to say some of the earlier years, they may have not color coded these brown and yellow left and right banks. So you may have to go through your valve cover connectors and ohm out which one of these wires goes to the left bank and the right bank, so you can make sure to get these wires on the correct position. So if you do have a problem, it will show up in the computer as left bank or right bank, and that'd be correct. So you're not sending somebody in a crazy loop troubleshooting later on. So we've got our brown, which is going to be 589, which is our orange wire. So we had to, so this is a fusible link right here, which this part of the wire will burn up before this part if there's ever a short in the system, and that just helps protect all the rest of the wiring, so it doesn't melt the rest of the harness down. Because the main part of the fusible link is this insulation on this coating is non-flammable. Like, it will not catch fire, unlike the rest of the insulation on normal wiring. So if this gets hot and the wire burns up, it won't start fire. So we get that on the brown. Tighten that down. Sometimes these terminals like to spin when you tighten down. You just adjust and tighten back down. And again, don't get it too tight. So now we want to go here, which is 339, our gray. So our gray wire back here, labeled 339 right there. Put this on there. Last one. This is pink and orange, number 466. It's going to go on right there. Our yellow, which is our left bank. Okay. All done. Always good to double check, make sure you got all your wire numbers right. We've got our gray, which is 339, under our center, pink and orange, going with our yellow, which is our left bank, wire 466, and then lastly our orange, wire 589, going with brown, which is our right bank of both plugs. So now we've got all that. This is ready to go back into the truck and fix your check engine light issue. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. That's nathan.northup@yahoo.com. You can also order these off our website, northupautomotive.com. I'll leave a link to that in the description. Thank you.